Hi everyone, and welcome to another edition of Venu's Weekly Cricket Catch Up. You may be thinking, where's Fizan? He's actually busy right now playing cricket. Hopefully he's smashing some runs. Hopefully scoring loads of runs. But I've got my good friend Cash with me. How are you doing, Cash?
I'm all right. How are you, Venu?
I'm good. Sorry, what's that?
Enjoying the sun?
Yeah, it's been great. And I was at Cricket Net yesterday playing tennis as well. It's been great. Good weather here. And a lot of cricket on this week.
Yeah, a lot of cricket.
So it's the same format as before for all those viewers out there. So let's start off with the IPL. So the Indian Premier League started this week. What edition is it? Number 7? Number 8?
No, it's longer than that. I think it's let me double check actually. Is it not like 13 or something?
Yeah, 13 years. Poof.
14th season. IPL
14th IPL.
Yeah.
Wow. So we were still in school. So we were in school when it started, right?
2007.
Do you remember when it was on? Yeah. Do you remember when it was on Freeview TV?
What was it on? What was it on? Was it like?
It was on ITV.
ITV. Yeah.
ITV4.
That was near the beginning, wasn't it?
Do you remember I remember the presenters. Do you remember the two presenters?
No.
There was always one Indian lady. I forgot her name. Always in a sari. And and it was great. I loved watching it on ITV. But now it's on Sky Sports, and they do a good job. But let's talk about that, Cash. Like, it's what do you think about it so far?
I think it's very even. It's interesting because obviously the IPL, there's 8 teams, right? As always, each team has got firepower in a lot of variants. You know, it's all about finding the right balance of the team. So I still think that Mumbai Indians are the team to beat. That's my opinion. Okay. I know that they lost one to RCB, to Bangalore. That was obviously the first game of the season. But I still think that Mumbai have got maybe the best balance in the team. But it'll be interesting to see other teams. So, for instance, was it Hyderabad did quite well last year? They've already lost 2 in a row. So I'm just kind of, I don't know if that's other teams got a bit better. CSK look a little bit better than last year, Chennai. How are you finding it?
Oh yeah, I've been watching bits of it. Like I watched Sanju. Is it Sanju Samson's innings?
Yeah.
First match the Royal RCB played. I've got who it was against, but couldn't quite get over the line. Where he declined a single on a penultimate ball and tried to. He wanted to play, backed himself to hit a 6, which is fair enough. But did you watch Chris Morris's innings the other day?
Yeah, that was incredible.
That was great, wasn't it? Who was that against, Cash? I'm trying to think.
That was against. I can't remember off the top of my head, but it was interesting because it was Sanju Samson was, when he declined the single, it was for Chris Morris.
Yeah.
So obviously Sanju was on 119, so he just thought, I'll take it. But it's Chris Morris on the other side who as we saw in the second match, absolutely smashed it, and did really well.
Yeah, and so at the moment, I think RCB are top of the leaderboard.
Mm-hmm.
And Rajasthan Royals are 5th at the moment. But talk about Rajasthan Royals. Did you hear about Ben Stokes injured his finger and it's broken it or fractured it, and as a result, he's out of the IPL and he's going to miss England-New Zealand Test matches.
Yeah,
such a shame. One of the biggest players in the IPL in terms of foreign players.
Yeah.
Such a big shame that he's missing the IPL. For a fan of the IPL, is a big shame. Wouldn't you agree?
I think it's a big shame, but it's interesting. So obviously he's gone, and I mean they're saying he should be back in time for the Indian tests, which will be interesting. But it's meant that Butler's had to go to the top. So Butler's gone to the top, and they've got because this is Rajasthan. And so then they've got, is it David Miller has come in?
Miller.
I think? Yeah, David Miller's come in at I think 5 to cover that, and he seems to he's got a really good record, I think, in T20. So it'll be interesting to see if that works out for them. Obviously, there's this massive debate about Butler, right? Because people are saying Butler's better. The England team think that Butler are better at the top, don't they?
Yes.
They put him in the top. But obviously, Rajasthan believed, oh no, he's better finisher, and Stokes is better at the top. So it'll be interesting to see how well Butler does at the top for Rajasthan. Yeah, I'm just kind of looking forward to seeing a bit more of him. And obviously, they haven't had Jofra either. Jofra's been out. I don't know if he's going to make it back.
The latest, he's cleared to resume training after hand surgery.
Okay.
So maybe he could potentially catch the latest, maybe the back end of the IPL, but I'm not sure. So we have a question for you, Cash. Mm-hmm. What's your IPL team?
My IPL team. This is funny because I'm in a bit of a toss-up. I really like Mumbai. I'm a big fan of Mumbai, but I haven't fully chosen them yet.
Why?
I'm not sure. I just feel like it's a bit of a cop-out to just pick the team that wins all the time. It's a bit like glory hunting, isn't it? It's like, oh, do you remember when we grew up? It was like, oh, I just support Man United. Do you remember? It used to be back in the day.
Or Liverpool for a bit, or Chelsea for a bit, wasn't it?
The Chelsea for a bit, yeah. So in football, so I just feel like I like their team though. So I'm watching them closely. I like the Punjab team because they've got Gale and Puran.
Yeah,
it's just like I don't know when and if they come off, it will be a great time. They haven't quite shown it yet.
Yeah.
And I love Moeen Ali. I think we both love Moeen Ali.
Agreed.
He's batting where he wants to bat. He's batting at number 3 for CSK. He's done a couple of good. He got 30. I think he got 36 in the first innings, his first game, and he's got like 46 in yesterday's game. So he's showing that he can do the number 3 role to great success. So
I agree.
They even asked him, in fact, in the interview, what how do you feel about where you're batting? You're batting at number 3, and he said he without anyone asking, like mentioning England, he said, "Oh, for England, I bat at number 7. It's a very difficult position," and he finds number 3 to be an easier position for him. So it's obviously in the back of his mind that he's never in the conversation about being England number 3, really, when I think he should be.
So you think you could? So it's just funny. Fazan and I had this conversation about England's batting lineup, and the fact that you have Butler opening and Stokes potentially higher up, but we didn't really think about Moeen Ali going up higher, and I think that is an option. I honestly think have Moeen Ali maybe at number 3.
Because I think what he does, he's just very free. He just bats very free. He just goes. He doesn't really mess around. You know that he's going to hit some runs or he's going to get out. And the thing is with England's middle order, it's so chunky that you're going to get players that are going to go a bit slower, and I just feel like it just gives a different balance to the team,
That's true, yeah, for sure. I'm talking about England. Harris asks, do any of you guys actually rate Morgan's batting? Now, I rate it, but I rate his captaincy more than his batting.
Yeah. He's a really good tactical in the field, isn't he? Real good strategist. I think historically his batting's been really good. Like his stats are still quite good, but recently it's been terrible, hasn't it? When was the last time he got a big score?
Or like a match-winning innings, like when Milan performing well for England as well, like the weakest batter in that batting lineup is Morgan. And his captaincy is obviously keeping him in. So it'd be interesting to see what happens. So Harris says Moeen Ali has been good. Yes, he's been good so far this IPL. He's playing for CSK, is that right? Chennai Super Kings.
Yeah, Chennai Super Kings, So he's coming at 3. And then I can't remember who they used to play at 3, but after him they got Suresh Raina comes in at 4. And then Raidu comes at 5.
Adoni?
Donny comes at he's down to come at 6, but the last game, Curran came in at 6. So
Sam Curran.
Sam Curran, yeah.
That's a CSK have got a quality team,
Yeah, they've got a good team, but I think it's like they've got a lot of older players, or like Reiner, Donny, Bravo.
Yeah, that's true.
So it comes off, it doesn't come off. They got Duplessis at the top.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so every team's got a good team though. That's the thing. So it's
agree.
It's getting the balance right and the tactics right.
100%, that's for sure. And Harris also asked, he needs to elevate 40 run scores to 80 or 90. Maybe that's Moeen Ali. I agree.
Moeen Ali. I definitely agree. And you saw it. He got out to this. He kind of was doing this flat bat, and he didn't get quite enough elevation on it, and it went straight to the fielder. And it could have easily gone for 6 if he just kind of elevated it a little bit more. And you could tell he was really pissed off. But I agree. Like he's in that range to go to 80, 90 and just finish the game out. If he can do that, then CSK have got done really good business getting him in the team.
I agree. That's for sure. So Harris also asks, he's been the course of KKR collapse last game. What? I'm confused by that question, Cash.
I believe he, if I remember rightly, hold on, let me just double check. Because they were playing, who were they playing? They were playing Mumbai, weren't they? And it was a really low score. So Mumbai got 152, which is a pretty low score. And he was in the middle of basically all the players. The middle order just totally collapsed. So for Kolkata. So you had Rana and Gill, openers, got 57 and 33, doing really well. Pretty quick. Then everyone else got nothing. So I guess what Harris is saying is, look, you're the captain. If everyone's falling apart around you, you need to kind of step up and stay in. Because it's not a big score, 150 for T20. You should be able to steady the thing. So I can see what he's saying there.
Yeah, for sure. And to continue what Harris is saying, he says, used to be Reiner 3 last season was Yadav or Raidu, I think.
Yeah.
And Achal Shah, nice to welcome Achal. Hey, Venu and Cash, good to see you guys doing the show together. So if you glance at the top performance IPL so far, you'll see that so many new domestic Indian players are charting the list. I agree. I'm not sure who the leading run scorers at the moment, but let me try and get that out. And leading wicket takers.
Probably Sanju Samson's probably the leading run scorer, but definitely Harshal Patel did really well in the bowling department. He got a 5 it seemed really good for I think it was Punjab Kings, was it?
Yeah, it's N Rana is the leading run scorer.
Oh, okay.
And Samson is second on the list. For Rajasthan Royals. In terms of wickets, I think you are right in terms of let's have a look. It's Patel, HV Patel for RCB, 7 wickets, and KKR just behind him. So that is good for. I think IPL does wonders for the domestic Indian players and gets them playing with these amazing international players. So Duplessis is struggling in the PSL. He's not in the best form. That's true.
Good point.
And Achal Shah, this means that if Harshal Patel gets the most wickets IPL and Nitish Rana, Sanju Samson's top scorer, how can selectors not choose them for the T20 World Cup? This is what I was thinking, Cash. Like, Sanju Samson's not in the first team at the moment for India, is he?
He's knocking on the door, but he's not there. But the first team's so strong.
Yeah, but he's performing. Surely the selectors are thinking he's in form. This next World Cup is in our backyard. Let's just select the best players from the IPL.
Yeah, but look, who's he gonna replace? Pant? You can't say Pant hasn't been performing like on the international scale.
India?
Hardik, but he bowls.
Krunal?
bowled as well. Whereas Sanju's a wicketkeeper. So do you know what I mean? It's very hard to say. I'm not saying they won't get in at some point. It's definitely Sanju Samson's on the door, but it's really hard to say, oh, he should be getting in, because there are players that are there that also deserve to be there. Do you know what I mean? Like, you need to. We saw it with you have to really drop the ball for a number of games to not get back in. Do you know what I mean? So we saw that with Rahul. You know, Rahul was doing poorly for a while. They dropped him out, and that made sense. And then Kohli said, "I'm going to the top." You know, but I just think it's such a competitive team now that it's like even the second 11 now of India could probably beat a lot of. I would argue could beat some international teams.
I think we should do that video, Kashif. I reckon India's second 11 T20 could beat Sri Lanka's first team.
Yeah. I mean, I think as somebody's asked even about why there's no Sri Lankan players.
Yeah, so we'll come on to that. So 20 editions in. Yeah, thanks to Magical Gamer. Thanks for joining. Yeah, exactly. Venu, why is there hardly any Bengali or no Sri Lankans in IPL? It shows the state of Bangladeshi and Sri Lankan cricket at the moment, especially T20. Like, there are some up-and-coming players coming through. No, there's one, Mustafa Rahman, I think.
Mustafa Rahman, yeah.
He's playing for. I forgot what team he plays for, but maybe someone could tell me in the comments.
Yeah, and you got Shakib as well, Shakib Al Hassan.
But no Sri Lankans. Only Kumar Sangakkara is the team principal of Rajasthan Royals. But yeah,
and Jai Wardener, I think, is the
Mumbai Indians.
Mumbai Indians, and I think Morley is a bowling coach for somebody. I forget who.
Sunrisers, maybe.
Yeah, maybe somebody.
So Sri Lankans. Harshad Ashar, I started playing KKR in 2010 because of Shahrukh Khan. That's how I got my team. No, Varun Chakraborty should be chosen for India, if anyone. Do you know much of him, Kashif?
What's that? Sorry.
Do you know much of Varun Chakraborty?
I know a little bit. He looks a good fit, and obviously there's still been question marks about the spinners department, having that specialist spinner in the T20 team. So I wouldn't be surprised if he got shot, if he got a chance.
Okay. Yeah, we'll see. But I think there's a video we need to do. I'll speak to Fazan. I think we're going to do a video of India's second 11 T20, and we'll do that. Maybe get you to come along, maybe Ashad as well. We could have a good discussion there.
Yeah.
Harris Arshad, Sanju Samson inconsistent, as is Raina, but Raina should be in. Is it Raina, you think?
Rana.
Rana is a different player.
Yeah, I think it means Nitish Rana.
Nitish Rana. Okay, fair enough. I think he's the current leading scorer.
Yeah.
Shakib Al Qasan is in KKR too, and I think Rahman is Rajasthan Royals. There's quite a few Afghani players, which is good.
Yeah, you got Mohammed Nabi, Rashid Khan. I think is it Mujib Ur Rahman's also playing. There's a few hanging around.
Yes, I agree. There is a few, which is good. And Ashar Shah says, I believe the selectors, especially in India, need to put forward a white paper on their selection policy. It's for the players that need to know why they're not being picked. Too much ambiguity. Is there a bit of a nepotism going on, do you think? Or I like this player, or let's stick with our team.
I think there's always a little bit of stick with our team. I think you even see that with the England camp.
Agreed.
It's always a bit like, okay, this is the core, and then you have to really screw up to not be in the team. I think it's a tough one because do you know what? I'm starting to think about it like I don't know if anyone watches football, but with the England football team, because the England football team, they got massive talent, but they don't know what their best team is. And my feeling is you prefer to know your best team and then to have other players knocking on the door rather than to give to not know your best team, but to have 25 amazing players. Because what you want is a team which can balance itself, right? That's why in the England cricket team, David Milan has done so well, but we're not sure if he is giving enough balance to be part of the best team. Does that make sense?
I agree, but he's been amazing last year.
He has, but it's a question of when you're losing or you're in a bad position, the whole team seems to, he won't play well, but he'll eat up all these balls. And then the balance is a bit thrown out. Do you know what I mean?
Agreed. Yeah.
I'm just using that as an example to say I can see why the Indian selectors will just keep to certain players who have proven, because they know that the balance of that team is, at least in the batting, is good. A batting and all rounders.
Yes, agreed, definitely. And Haris Arshad says, Kashif, what's your international team?
What's my international team? There's another good question. Because to be honest, I back India sometimes.
Yes.
Against England, I was backing them. But I just like to watch good cricket. I like to. I've always, from a youngster, I've always liked West Indies. Partly because they used to have a lot of Indians play for them. They used to have Ramnaresh Salwan, Shivnarayan Chandapal, Ravi Rampal, Bishu, all these kind of players. To me, I could identify with them as well. Obviously, from England, so I could identify with these Indians who had left. I always follow England, but I might not support them. I think me and you are similar like that, Venu. We're always following England. We know what's going on, but maybe we're not like fully 100% behind them.
Yeah. Agreed.
It's definitely a complicated situation, but I feel like with cricket, you can just want to watch the good cricket. That's often what I'm about. I just like to watch good cricket. My number one.
I'm the same, Cash. I think. Yeah, I tend to like to support the underdog in a test match.
Yeah.
But yeah, good cricket. Like we've seen some good cricket between even the was it the West Indies Bangladesh series was very good earlier this year. So and they're not like big teams. So I think that is interesting, and that's what I want. Just good cricket, really.
Yeah, like even I don't know what you thought, but the India-Australia series
that was great.
It was incredible. Like
even as a neutral, that was fantastic. Yeah. I think Harris here is talking about England football. It's a problem. Possibly. It's a problem. I think.
I don't know, because they just blame every manager. I think it's just England is the problem. That's my opinion, but that's a different question.
Maybe another video. What's your prediction for top 4 IPL this year? I'm not too sure on this. I'm just going to say Rajasthan Royals, Mumbai Indians, RCB. I'm not sure about the fourth.
Yeah. I think I would say top 3: Mumbai, Delhi, RCB. The fourth one's up for grabs. That's my opinion from some previous ones and from how it's shaping up this year. But I could be totally wrong, because it's, as we know, every team's got quality.
I agree. And Harris continues. Imagine Babar and Kohli batting together in IPL. I agree. It's a massive shame Pakistani players aren't playing like. Imagine Rizwan in there. Babar, obviously. Some of the bowlers. Shaheen.
Incredible.
I do think, I was saying this to Fazan the other day, we'll talk about the Pakistan impressive victory over South Africa in a moment. But I do think Pakistan have a good chance to do well in the T20 World Cup later on this year.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. They've got a good chance. I think, I don't know if we want to talk about the South Africa series a little bit.
Yes. Shall we? Let's go into that as well. So that series, that was a fantastic series for Pakistan's perspective. 3-1 in the T20 series. I think the third one was a fantastic. Did you see Babar Azam's innings?
Incredible.
Fantastic. Poetry in motion, I'd say.
Yeah.
So you're going to expand on incredible, Fazan? Not Fazan, Kashif.
Yeah, just incredible. I think just the way he plays cricket, um, it's just makes it look very easy, very good on the eye. I think if you're making the Barber Kohli comparisons, different ages, so Barber's just come in younger, but you would say that he looks a little bit better on the eye. The drives that he does, Barber certainly looks more classical, more beautiful. But still a lot to go. Huge congratulations. You got the ODI number one. I would say that. But let's see how long he can keep it up, whether he can, lead Pakistan to more victories as well, particularly in test matches. I'll be interested to see. But certainly, when you go to the T20, you've got, with him and Rizwan opening, Zaman, Fakhar Zaman coming in third, you've got a really good, three of you could take anyone on with those three, couldn't you? You could take anyone on with those three. I'd be maybe a bit concerned about, and I think even was it Afridi was saying this about the middle order that there's vulnerable.
I agree, and they kind of got shown up in the fourth T20. Did you see that, Kashif, where they were cruising? I think Babar Zaman and Babar Azam had a good partnership. They were 100 odd for one, and then all of a sudden they're 120 for five, and you just think, and they nearly lost that match. But you just think if the middle order was a bit more mature, a bit more reserved, and thinking actually we only need to get singles here, not giving catching practice in the deep.
Yeah,
I think Pakistan would have easily won that match, but they won it. But it was a bit too close for comfort.
Yeah, so I think they'll have to work that out. If they want to really go really far in the World Cup, they'll need that middle order, those kind of all rounders and so on, to really perform, because there's only so far you can go with like your top order kind of doing all the business, and the bowlers were great. The bowling was great. So there's that to go from like a really good team to one that could win it. It's going to be that middle order that's going to have to pull something out.
So more on Babar Azam's second T20 is that third T20 where he hit his maiden T20 national ton. Remember, Virat Kohli hasn't got an international T20 100.
Yeah.
So Babar has got one on him. 122 59 balls. That was the highest chase for Pakistan, chasing 204. That was the previous best 189. First wicket stand of 197. Fantastic performance for Pakistan. So they're definitely the team to look out for, in definitely for the next this upcoming World Cup. That's for sure.
Yeah. They're you would say they're like the dark horses, maybe.
I agree. Definitely. So Harish Arshad says Shaheen's being burnt out. He needs to be rested, and he's going to play the 100 and the blast. He's been playing non-stop cricket. I agree. Maybe not playing the IPL is probably a good thing for Pakistan players. Maybe get some rest.
Yeah, but they're playing South Africa and then they're playing Zimbabwe next week.
Oh, are they? Oh wow. Yeah, that's a lot. That is a lot.
Yeah. I think they're even playing 2 tests end of the month.
Especially for a fast bowler, you need rest. And they were saying, maybe the Ben Stokes getting injured might be a good thing for England because he's going to get a lot of rest, which is probably a good thing in long term for England. Yeah. And he's also playing the PSL too whenever that restarts.
Yeah.
So Achel asks, there isn't much nepotism in selection, but since the political body, self-interest come in selection, has always been skewed towards sliding with the ruling team rather than the opposition. In a way, what do you think about that, Kashif?
Well, I wonder, Achal, could you tell us more about what you mean by ruling team and opposition? Do you mean that there's a ruling team in terms of the actual team, or in terms of like the coaches? They're the rulers. I wonder what you mean by that. But I largely agree though. I agree it's not nepotistic, it's more conservative. That in the sense that you just rely on what you know is going to do well, rather than trying out new things.
Yeah. And you're also Kashif. And in terms of Harris says New Zealand are real dark horses. I'll back Pakistan like always, but New Zealand are very dangerous.
But I wouldn't say New Zealand are dark horses. They're one of the favourites. Yeah.
Yeah. That's my. I agree. New Zealand along with the favourites, along with India and England. I'll say.
Yeah. And then exactly, I would say them three. I would say Pakistan are the dark horses, and West Indies never count them out. Isn't it?
I forgot Australia. You know that.
Yeah, but I just don't rate them at the minute. I don't know why. There's just something. I don't think they know what their best team is. But
I agree. 100%. So that's the Pakistan South Africa series wrapped up. So they won the ODI series and the T20 series. So that was very impressive from Pakistan. So Harris asked, what do you think about Indian players not being able to play abroad in other leagues? Morgan said Indian players said they like to. I agree. I do think. Imagine Virat Kohli playing in the T20 Blast or the PSL or the Big Bash. What's in their contract for these Indian players? They can only play IPL. Is that right?
Yeah. I think so. I think it's partially to make the IPL. It must be really to make the IPL more desirable. So you have exclusive contracts. So you can only play there, and so then everyone watches the IPL. That's the only thing. That's one of the only reasons I can think of. Because otherwise, even a lot of these domestic players who don't get international, they would love to go and play Big Bash. They'd love to go and play, probably PSL or LPL. Even smaller things. Do you know what I mean? Caribbean Premier League. There's all sorts of different things that they would love to play. I agree with you, Harris. They should allow it. I think they would love to, but again, I think it's about politics as much as anything. It's about money, I suspect.
And Harris follows up: Indian players playing abroad will bring more eyes as well and give them experience from conditions to travel the world. I agree. That's why you've got some Indian players. Vihari's in the county championship at the moment, and we'll talk about the championship in a moment. But I guess he's more of a test player, and so it's good for him to get some experience. No one puts New Zealand favourite, but they always turn up. I guess honestly, Harris, true. I think they're favourites. I think you need to respect them and give them the favourites tag. I think they're that good. So let's talk about the county championship. So the county championship has started this year. So I'm a Surrey fan, so I've got my Surrey shirt here. And Chief, you don't live too far away from the Oval. Sorry,
I walk past it almost every day, so I'm always past doing my pilgrimage, as they say. So I support Surrey too. Although I don't follow it maybe as closely as I should.
So in terms of the Surrey game, Ollie Pope's currently on 188. Actually, no, he just got out. No, it's not it. No. So Ollie Pope is currently on 188 runs, a strike rate of just over 83. So he's doing really well. So day 3 at the moment, and there's a new format for the county championship. I mean, there's 3 groups of 6, and another stand-up performance. I'll say Ollie Pope with stand-up performance. Mohamed Abbas took a hat trick for Hampshire. He's a quality bowler, especially in English conditions. He's quality, isn't he, Kashif?
Yeah. I mean, that's incredible, and his stats were incredible. It was like 5 for 20 or something. It was just ridiculous. Yeah. I think they bowled out the whole team for like 70, 78.
Yeah, I think in the first innings they got out for 79, and Abbas's figures were 11 overs, 6 maidens, 11 runs, 6 wickets. Economy of what?
So 6 for 11.
6 for 11. Sorry, yeah, that's a lot easier.
Oh my God!
He absolutely destroyed them, and there's some quality batsmen in that team, but they got absolutely destroyed by Abbas, and he's a quality player, that's for sure. I think that's a standout performance for this week. So let's quickly go for the comments, and we'll go on to the next. Also, by the way, have you seen Matt Parkinson's delivery, the one that spanned?
That was incredible.
It pitched outside leg stump like a Shane Warne. It's a leggy and just took it off the top of stump. Fantastic. Do Google it. Type in Matt Parkinson's ball, and I think it's one of the ball of this year for sure. So let's go for the comments. Cash. Indian players playing abroad will bring more. Oh, we done that one. Have you guys choosing 100 teams? Probably the London. Was it the London
Invincibles? Is it?
Yeah, something like that. Or the Oval Invincibles.
Oh yeah, maybe the Oval Invincibles. Yeah,
something like that. Yeah. So probably the team that's playing at the Oval. BCCI, Achal says, is made up of state bodies, so it's essentially a congregation of all the administrators from each state who come and vote. There is always politics on who gets to sit on the selection committee. That is true. That is true.
Yeah, I see that.
And Achal says each representative would always back their own local players from the state because of their political interests. But what I don't get is, why do you have players originally from Tamil Nadu like Washington Sundar playing? I don't think he played for CSK, and other Indian players who play state cricket for probably a local team, and their state cricket doesn't match up with the IPL team.
I think they just get bought and sold. It's like the English Premier League, in football. They just kind of get bought and sold to whoever will pay them, and whichever team will play them as well. So I think did he play for Bangalore? I think. Yeah. So obviously they've decided that he's going to fit into their team, whereas CSK, they got a different team. Recently they haven't had many young players, so probably Sundar could never have even broken through. So
yeah, for sure.
That's the reason, really. Ravi Ashwin, also Tamil, plays for Delhi. So
I think I'm coming around to that, to be honest.
Yeah.
If you look carefully, most Indian players always come from places where the state administrators hold on the BCCI strongest. Okay, fair enough.
I guess you're talking about like Gujarat maybe and Maharashtra, UP, those kind of places.
And Harris says Mohammad Abbas is like the Bhuvaneshwar Kumar. It looks effortless from them, their action, and they're not fast but effective. Very effective. You can put the ball where he wants it, swings it both ways. Great bowlers.
Yeah.
Babar is the real greatest of all time. Give it a few more years, Cryptic. A few more years, I'd say. Do you guys know the rule changes for the 100? I know vaguely. I know, for example, they are going to. What's your view on this, Kashif? They make on gender neutral terms. So the batsman's going to become
the batter. I think
wicket becomes out.
I think it's a bit patronizing to spectators. Like, I just think that part of learning the game is also learning the language. With the name like wicket or out, it doesn't make sense to me. Just, you can say he's out, but it's still that how many wickets? It's still going to be 100 for 2. It's not going to be 100 runs, 2 outs. That just doesn't sound correct to me. 100 runs, 2 wickets. In terms of the gender neutral terms, I don't know. I just feel like it doesn't fully make sense, because I don't know anyone's really asking for it. It just feels like, when you just say something to show that you're doing something, but actually it's not really helping anything. If you're trying to do something about gender equality or something, I think what's much better is that what they're doing in the 100 is they're showing a lot of the women's games on TV. I think that's going to do a lot more for gender equality in cricket than changing the name of player of the match or batsman, or do you know what I mean? Like, I bet if you ask women cricketers, I would be interested to hear what they said, because I imagine some of them wouldn't mind to be called batsmen.
Yeah, I think. Well, obviously, we're not women, so I think that's a good point. What would they say? But I'm just thinking they're just doing it for the sake of it, and there are more important things to kind of to address. And as you said, Cash, really well. I think it's really good that they're double heading the 100 fixtures and showing the women game before the men's games. And I think it'd be good for women's cricket, definitely.
Yeah. Well, what's the? I haven't fully understood the overs. You get like 5 balls and then you can do 10 or something like that.
I think I'm not too sure. I think you've got.
I think it's 5 ball overs, is it not?
I'm not too sure. I need to look it up.
Yeah.
I need to look it up, but I'm sure we'll do a review when it starts. So number 1 ODI could be number 1 in T20 as well. That's Babar, agreed. What do you think about this, Kashif? Bhuvaneshwar Kumar needs to be picked against New Zealand for test in English conditions.
Good point. I presume for the test, because he's swinging it. I presume that's what Harris is saying.
Yeah, I agree.
Because he's a swinger. It's a good point. Would you then bowl him up above Ishant, Harris? Because I guess, or would you bowl him? Because I presume Bumrah's not going to leave.
That's true.
Who are you taking out? Because obviously, you've got experienced bowlers who've bowled in England, right? So it's a good question. So I would be interested.
So Cryptic says Ryan Abbas is better than Kohli.
Yeah.
Harris, they're trying too hard to different, but they may be putting people off, but it'd probably be successful. I think it might be. I think this is for the gender neutral terms. I think it'd be successful, yes, but I think they're trying to get new people into the sport. But I think I think we're both quite traditional in our ways, and I think I think there isn't. It'd be interesting to see what women think about this and changing the term batsman to batter, but I think there's bigger things to focus on. And Asha said, Gujarat, Maharashtra, especially Mumbai, Delhi, not UP. It's funny that UP had 20 not single paper or top administrator in the BCCI. I hope you get my point. What do you think about that, Kashif?
I see. Okay, so Delhi goes separate from UP. Okay, makes sense. Yeah, makes sense. I can see what you're saying. I certainly noticed recently a lot of Gujarati players. So it makes sense that's what there's some level of nepotism, but I guess the other side of that to say is that the players is also good enough. So if you've got still so what you're then saying is that there are other good players who are not getting picked, but it's not to say that these ones who are getting picked are not good enough, because I think they're still winning a lot of stuff. India, it's not like it's a rubbish team or anything. So I understand what you're saying now.
Yeah, it's interesting. I agree 100%. They're doing it just to have a good image. Don't ask for it. Yes, but I'm all for gender equality, but I think there's other things to focus on. That's for sure. And Harris follows up. Women cricket has been on the up. Yes, it's been great to see women cricket on the up, and hopefully, if I do have a daughter in the future, that cricket is a sport that she feels she can really get into and be successful at. And I think it's going that direction. It's a great game for everyone. So that's most of the cricket that we've come across. So the county championship is still going day 3, so do have a look at that. Atros says, I disagree. If you can make small subs to change the game to make it gender neutral, what's wrong? The old white men in the 1800s were wrong to use those terms. Let's correct it. I think you've got a point, Achal.
I think you would just ask the people, because I remember when I was in, there was a whole thing to talk about bin men, and they said, "Oh, would you want to change to bin people?" Because we call in England we call them bin men, and the woman bin men said, "No, we like to be called bin men because that's our job." So they didn't see it as they're men who do the bins. That's one word, bin men. The same way that batsman is one word. So that's all I just mean is just to ask, how do they identify those people? Because I don't think it is necessarily a gender term, batsman. That's my opinion.
Or postman.
Postman. Would you say postwoman? No, you just say the post officer, I guess you might say.
That's why instead of policeman, it's become police officer now.
Police officer, yeah.
Okay, it's interesting. I think it's
But yeah, I don't know. I feel like it's maybe a bigger issue than we need to make it, and that we should maybe be talking about the cricket a little bit more. I think the 100 will be a success. It's just we're gonna have to get used to it at the beginning. And we'll have to get used to the scheduling as well. I think that might be a bit more of an issue going forward.
Yeah, that's for sure. Kashif, well said. So in terms of, there's a few more news stories to go through, and when we'll start the venues, the awards for this week. Achal continues, but batter and player of the game sounds absolutely fine. I agree. Yeah, it sounds fine. But and Harry's going to watch my game today, Kashif.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It'll be interesting to see if Hyderabad can come back from their 2 losses. So it should be a good game.
So it starts at 3, doesn't it?
Yeah, 3:00, I think,
okay.
UK time.
In terms of, let's continue with the women's cricket is on the up, as Harris said earlier. But Heather Knight, the England captain, has welcomed return of Test cricket to the women's schedule after England's victory for the summer was announced. And so they are going to be, India will tour this summer. So they have T20s, ODIs, as per usual. But they also have a test in Bristol. And it'll be their first test in 6 years. And I think that's fantastic. That's really good news. And I'm really looking forward to it. And hopefully that'll be televised. And hopefully I'll be able to see it. So that's on June 16th to 19th. Test versus India. And I'll write that in my planner.
Awesome.
Yeah, I love Test cricket.
Awesome. Because I've noticed the Indian cricket team's been doing quite well recently as well. So, be looking forward to that.
That's for sure, yes. And one other news piece to talk about is, did you hear about, there was a corruption, what's his name? Let's have a look.
Heath Streak, was it not?
Yeah, what's that about, Kashif?
I didn't fully follow it. It seemed to be a coach. Someone had lured him.
Yeah,
into corruption.
So Heath Streak had 8-year ban for corruption. So Streak's honest facilitated approaches by corrupted to people within teams he was coach at. So former Zimbabwe captain, and yeah, he's been charged with facilitating or attempting to induce 4 players, including national captain, to potential corrupter. And that's a shame, really, and that people are kind of forced into that.
And apparently I think it was the same guy who approached Shakib Al Hassan.
Yeah. The right coach getting out of the sport, and Fazan Khan says he took Bitcoin presents from Indian business and introduced him to players. Well, that's horrible.
Okay.
But it's good that cricket is being strict with this, and he's giving them an 8-year. Was it 8 year? What did he get again? 8 years.
8-year ban. So presumably from coaching.
That's going to affect his livelihood, isn't it? So rightly so. I think that's a fair enough punishment. Yeah, I think that's that. In terms of Achal on that, Adam Milne to start for Mumbai Indians, but doesn't start for New Zealand. Does feel like international recognition makes no sense to franchise cricket. You could say so. What do you think about that, Kashif?
I mean, we've been talking about it even with Fazan, haven't we? About with franchise cricket's almost got. Obviously, international cricket's still really important, but franchise cricket's now got like some players are doing really well in it, but won't get into the team, like Alex Hales, for instance. Yeah. Doing phenomenal in franchise cricket around the world, but won't doesn't look like he's going to get into the England team anytime soon. So I think we're going to see more of that over the next few years. Certainly, even the questions that we had about the India players, that there's going to be a lot of domestic players who just can't break into the teams. They're not part of the setup. They're not part of the central contract setup. But they're doing really well for a few years on the franchise thing. I think it's just something we're going to have to get used to. That's my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. Do you think, Kashif, there will be a point in time where franchise cricket is bigger than international cricket? Is it going that way?
Maybe in T20.
Yeah.
In the sense, obviously, that's the main franchises.
Yeah.
Franchise cricket is T20, just because you obviously got limited number of international teams. You're always going to have limited number,
Yeah.
Whereas franchise can get bigger and bigger, or you can have multiple around the world.
Yeah.
So I could see it in maybe 10 years' time. You've got this huge IPL. They're talking about adding new teams, even. So you might have all of this. You might have a second or third 11 India players who are better than some international teams. I could see that happening in 5-10 years time.
Yeah, no, it'd be interesting to see how it develops, franchise cricket, because PSL's growing, CPL's growing, LPL first season this year. So, and Harry's saying international cricket will always be better. I agree, international cricket will always be better because of the standard you've got 11 international players playing against each other.
And the grudges and the history and everything, that will always be better.
I agree. I think that's in terms of all the news stories that we've covered for this week. I think that's everything, unless you guys feel free to put in the chat if there's anything you would like us to mention. But let's think about our awards for this week. Now, in terms of the player of the week, star of the week, Babar Azam's fantastic 103rd T20 or Mohammad Abbas hat-trick?
I think you have. I would give it to Babar, because also he made ODI #1 this week.
Yeah, no, that's Babar Azam for player of the week. Well done, mate. In terms of team of the week, Kashif, give it to Pakistan.
Yeah,
or IPL team.
I would give it to Pakistan because they won the series. I think IPL, it's only been 2 games, so maybe. Yeah, it's a bit too early to say. Obviously, RCB did well, but it's hard to say.
Yeah, I agree. In terms of player that needs to do the homework, who do you think? What player that you think he hasn't had a great week this week? Maybe there was this African bowler, who bowled he bowled 2 no balls, and they gave Pakistan 2 free hits. I forgot his name. But
was it Magala?
Yeah, Magala.
Yeah, I saw that.
I was watching that. I was so annoyed because
the free hit, he got 6, didn't he?
That was just
maybe
has to be that. Yeah,
because he was also the same player who he on his first over in the I think the first T20 he bowled 12 balls because that was that many no balls and wides.
That was shocking.
So probably needs to do his homework a little bit.
Yeah, I agree. Asif Ali or Haider Ali, maybe in Pakistan's middle order. I agree. Yeah. That could be from that, but it was what was his name? It was definitely Magala. Right, yeah, Magala. Shocking. I was praising him, but he had but still better than Asif Ali. Fair enough. Could give it to Asif Ali. Magala.
The Pakistanis want me to give it to Asif Ali, which is funny because obviously Magala is the one they were playing. But let's give it to Asif Ali to
Asif Ali. Okay, cheers, guys. Just quickly, I chose Venu. The trend is going towards franchise cricket because of the inability of cricket boards to prepare fair remuneration of their players. I can't imagine an athlete choosing franchise over international. That is true. In terms of team that needs to do the homework, maybe the Sunrisers Hyderabad had a really bad loss earlier on. Could give to South Africa.
Yeah, it's a bit harsh on them because it was a lot of second string players. Yeah, maybe Sunrisers, maybe South Africa.
South Africa. Mangala did help you win.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, fair point.
Yeah. So who shall we give it to? Trying to think. South Africa, but it was I don't know, difficult one. Maybe not. Let's not. Maybe for not this week. We won't do one. In terms of moment of the week, Kashif.
It's got to be the ball, Matty Parkinson's ball.
The
ball of the century.
Yeah, have a watch of that, everyone. So yeah, watch Matt Parkinson's fantastic spin. But made us think of Shane Warne. Memories of Shane Warne there.
Yeah.
Shane Warne there.
I mean, special mention to Mohamed Abbas, but I would give it to. Parkinson.
And Abbas is a close second, I would say. His hat trick, close second. In terms of fail of the week, Ben Stokes breaking his finger.
It's rude, but yeah, I guess so.
That was a bit of a fail. We can give it to Magala, his new balls. We're being a bit harsh on Magala. So if you're watching, just mute us for now.
Nothing personal.
Nothing personal, mate. Nothing personal. Magala's no balls were bad. Giving his no Stokes of breaking his finger, that was bad. Magala again.
Yeah, go on then.
Because we gave
it. Yeah.
So Magala's no balls was fail of the week. So in terms of what you're looking forward to, what are you looking forward to, Kashif, over the coming weeks?
I'm looking forward to more IPL. Getting. Obviously, this next week you'll see the table maybe getting more obvious around who's going to be near the top. It's every day, isn't it? So it's just you can just tune in every day. So that's quite nice.
And follow it for the next 10 weeks.
Yeah, and then I just want to follow maybe a bit more of the county championship and see what's going on there.
Agreed.
And then I think Zimbabwe are playing. When are they playing Pakistan?
That's soon, mate.
21st of April. So that's on Wednesday.
What is it? A test match?
T20.
Where?
I think it must be in Zimbabwe. I'm not sure. Yeah, it's in Harare, Zimbabwe.
Oh wow! So Pakistan doing a lot of traveling.
Yeah, so they're doing three. They're doing 3 T20s and then 2 tests. So.
Oh, I look forward to that. That should be good. And ODIs are kind of put to the side.
Yeah.
It's fair enough. So quickly go through the comments and we'll wrap up for today. So Fazan says, by the way, remote Al Jazeera investigation 2018 on fixing. The journalist who did the investigation said that ICC doesn't want to approach it properly because it will impact their money.
That's interesting.
That is sad. What game was that ball in? That was the South Africa Pakistan. The last.
I think he's asking about Parkinson. Maybe are you asking about Parkinson?
Oh, it's the county game. Just type in Matt Parkinson. It's the Lancashire against Northants, and fantastic delivery.
Yeah, if you just look up Matt Parkinson ball of the century or something like that,
or just type into news. If you type it in, and I think there's an article comes up. You can see it's on Twitter, by the way. And Fizan Khan, yes, I'm hopefully you found it. And Harris Arshad says South Africa have shown their depth and their openers were consistent. They've got a lot of it serious. I agree, and it was kind of I said this to Fizan, it was a kind of a second string of South Africa's side, wasn't it, Cash? And they've got some quality players that we were thinking. AB de Villiers could come back for the T20 series. For the World Cup, sorry. Duplessis could come back. Got Miller in there. Chris Morris could potentially play. And you've got 4 big names that could really win a match for South Africa. They could be dark horses, mate.
And bear in mind their captain even got injured, Bavuma, so he wasn't even playing.
Exactly. So yeah, they look like a side to really watch out for. Sanju Sampson says last ball 6 full. Fail is harsh, but he could have taken a single from Sanju Sampson. Bit harsh. Bit harsh because he got 119. I agree, and he was hitting the ball like a beach ball, and Chris Morris wasn't hitting the ball as well. So I think he was probably the right choice given the circumstance. Harris Arshad, even though I do think Sam should have backed himself for the 6, but he done all that hard work. I agree. But and that's Fazan following up. Hopefully he found that ball. It was a great ball. I think that's everything really, Cash. So Pakistan can't have but still won't put any South Africa in the history of the World Cup. Sorry, lol. They haven't won a World Cup yet in any format. Is that right, Kashif?
I think that's correct.
They had their best chance of 2015, but they really messed that up. But I think they've got a chance. But that's T20 cricket. Anyone's got a chance. But I think that's everything. Kashif, thank you for joining me today.
Thanks for having me, Venu.
Problem anytime, and thank you all, everyone, for joining and joining our live stream. Feel free. I think the IPL match starts now, so do watch that. And feel free. Please do like and subscribe to the channel. I know Fizan will really appreciate more subscribers, more likes, and do comment as well. That's all appreciated, and any feedback's appreciated. So thank you for watching, and please tune in next week for another edition of Venu's Weekly Cricket Catch Up. Bye for now.
Bye.